They are. Oh, hello there. How diddly do? Radhe o Radhe. May this be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. As we await our first guests to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as a welcoming environment, open to everyone, regardless of where you are from, how you are currently feeling, the color of your skin, the color of your hairs, the color of your eyes. I am not so bothered by our material identities. I hope that we can come together as fellow students of life to uplift each other, relate in one another's experience, and share positive sentiments. Welcome. Hello, Entrepreneurs Academy. Namaste, dear Sky Guardian. Obi-Wan. Is this how Obi-Wan looks? Actually, I couldn't wear my Jedi robe today because it was way too hot. So I had to go to my lighter robe. I feel like I look like someone from the medieval period. I don't know, like Farmer Zachariah. You could call me that. I don't know. Hello, Cryptic Canuck. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? And hello, Kate. Welcome. Thank you, Cryptic Canuck, for blessing us with a heart me so early on. When do you share that medieval suits me? I feel like I would fit in well. I don't know if I would want to go back to that time period due to all of the diseases that were going around. I'm working 14-hour days every day for a serf to pay off my dues to the Lord of the land. Hello, Chowshi. You share this whole aesthetic is pleasing to your eyes. Oh, well, that's good. Sky Guardian, you share that you went to a meetup for board games once at the mall and you were embarrassed being there. And when they asked your name, you said Zachariah. That's so funny. Thank you, Kate, for your heart me too. Radhe, Radhe. Hello, Linda Lou. Entrepreneurs, you're wondering, how much do I meditate? Not as often as you might think, being someone who talks about meditation a lot. I try to be meditative more than I have set times to meditate. That way I'm always in a state. Anna, you said the sun is always so nice. I agree. It's also a deadly laser. You love the sunshine, Kate. Me too. I think they're building something behind me, so I don't know if you can hear power tools running, but I think my microphone has good noise cancelling. Avertas, you just got back from the Lake District. It was good. Oh, good. And my sleep has been better. Thank you for asking, Cryptic Canuck. Anyway, I have a question of the day for you all, since I like to start my lives with one. If you're interested in thinking about this with me today, my question is, what other ways can we express our thoughts beyond words? Words are our go-to, of course. But there are many other ways. Let's talk about them. Acts of service, shares Cryptic Canuck. Indeed. Art, shares Kate Savage. Music as well, from Sup. I love that. I think we've covered a lot of the baselines already. For so many different forms of communication can be expressed through art and music. And I see there are some other questions that were asked. Tyler, your girlfriend is going to join, who's Catholic, after dinner. Oh, wonderful. Hello, Ember. You always speak nice about me. Good to hear. Likewise. And it was smoky a few days ago because of the wildfires, Cryptic, but not anymore. Emoji, shares Linda Lou. Just kidding. No, that's a very real answer. Emojis actually contain so much information, like the connotation of our words. Depending if you put an angry emoji or a smiley emoji at the end of a sentence, you can really change how it's going to be interpreted. Star 67, you ask, how do I recommend handling adversity in a close relationship? If the adversity is from the person you're in a close relationship with, then please, by all means, set boundaries to ensure a healthy relationship. If it comes from outside, then you are each other's support. You confide in each other, take refuge in each other, and the two of you should have enough space to contain all the emotions that come your way. You add to the question of the day, cuddling. I love that. Yeah. Cryptic Canuck, you shared tears. Oh, there's a lot of information in a person's tears. That's for sure. And thank you, Nanya, for your heart me. Popcorn, a GG, a TikTok, a rose, a music play, and cloud bread. Hari Om Tat Sat. Enzo, you share telepathy. Stephen, you share you're really bad with words. Into feelings, you mean, while making sense. I know what you mean. Kimberly, you're on your way back from the beach. Oh, you've been going to the beach a lot. I love that. I imagine you're working up a tan by now. Varushka, you share by sending and receiving energy. I think that covers all the bases, doesn't it? You're very right. Linda Lou, you share photography and visual images. Yeah. Hello, Sarah Jane. You're wondering where I'm from. You're from Australia. I am from Canada. Cryptic Canuck, you share laughter and tears, hugs, snuggles. I love all those answers. Theodore, you shared eye contact and facial expressions. Absolutely. And Havertis, you share that maybe holding back on them can express them more presently. True. Yes, sometimes it's what we don't say that says the most. Ember, you had shared touch with loved ones. Poetry from Linda Lou. Sign language shares entrepreneurs. Grey Works, you share artwork is how you express your feelings, since words fail you all the time. Not just you. Words have their limitations. That's for sure. But it's nice to see you, Stephen. And Cryptic Canuck, you share that when you snuggle with your cat, what you're really saying is, I love you so much, I would die for you. Same. Rianan, you share through art and pictures or music. Lovely. Hello, dear Chloe Evans. Oh my goodness. I love yourself. What a scary answer. Radhe Radhe Hari. Linda Lou, you add body language, smiles, etc. All speak volumes. That's lovely. And thank you, Gina, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Annalie, thank you for your heart me and rose. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And Laura, thank you for your rose too. And thank you, Tyler, for your quartet of roses. Hello, Koribori. Chloe Evans, you share using art, maybe, write songs, yeah. Gina, you share by praying for the safety of all loved ones. That's beautiful. Sophia, you share singing. You are a singer, of course. Avertis, you share style and culture. I love that. Yes. Culture says a lot about ourselves and the way we carry ourselves in it. By gestures, shares hate tonight. You are very right. It's funny how often we use them. without realizing. Rhiannon, you share actions speak louder than words. I'm glad somebody said it, yeah. Although we all have in different ways. You put it directly. Symbolism, that's another great one, Havertis. Sky Guardian, you share that we can give birthday punches as saying I love you. Oh, I hated those. I was always so scared to reveal my birthday. Oh, how many punches do I get this year? I think by some year, by age 80 or 90, that would kill you. If you had to get 90 birthday punches at the age of 90, I'd be terrified. All right. I am feeling well in the loop. I am grounding. My feet are on the ground, sitting in the sun indeed. I love doing this. Thank you all for answering my question of the day. I am very grateful. Well, we've certainly covered many bases. I'm very impressed with all the ways which we can express things without words. It's helpful to know that there is so much more about our communication than through our use of words. And that is especially ironic given how on your end of the conversation today you've had to use your just words, but also emojis and punctuation marks as well. You get creative. And the personality imbued within the word choices. That's a subtle one too. Loopy Lane, you share that you're a live-in carer to your mum who is 99. Oh wow. How wonderful is that? Well, she is very blessed to have such a wonderful caregiver as you. I think it's beautiful when we can give back to those who have given so much to us. Yeah, don't give her 100 birthday punches next year. Unless by punch it's a kiss on the forehead. That's a good reminder, Havertis. Words can only point you the way, like I said about the finger at the moon. You're right. Aw, hey, tonight you shared that you gathered some flowers to show the girl that lives with you that you're grateful. You're so sweet. I love that. And Aaron, you had shared a wonderful answer to the question of the day too. Creating art, photos, and spending time in nature, expressing our thoughts through contact with nature. Yeah. Loopy Lane, you do threaten her with the birthday bumps. Oh boy. She deserves a break from the birthday bumps. She deserves birthday lunch. I don't know. Bren, you share that you share humor through middle fingers and sarcasm, all in fun. You play a dangerous game. You do. Hello, East. I'm happy you liked the skit. Sky Guardian, you share that you're a bad influence. Your apologies. It's okay. I think we all are in some ways. Now, I'd like to read from our book again with you. This is The Hidden Power in Humans, all about chakras and Kundalini by Paramahant Swami Maheshwarananda, who is pictured here. Lovely, happy, bearded guru. This is a wonderful book that was gifted to us all by one of our Sangis, Ushabai. In fact, I was gifted on behalf of her guru, who was the very author of this book, who now goes by Vishwa Guruji. Let me just pull up the cover. Is that it? There it is. Let's continue reading where we left off. Last time we were discussing the nature of Om, the primordial syllable which generated the universe, how it refers to the Brahma Shakti, the creative power that manifests the universe, the Vishnu Shakti, the preserving power that sustains the cosmos, and the Shiva Shakti, the liberating power that brings about transformation and renewal, how these three aspects exist within us. The Om also divided into two sounds, which created the Purusha, the original consciousness, and the Prakriti, the primordial nature. The desire for union and the striving for expansion are called natural. They are intrinsic impulses of nature. Why does the seed that was planted in the lap of the earth sprout? Because the impetus for growth and duplication lies in its nature. Uniting, unfolding, growing, multiplying, protecting, preserving, and nourishing. Put concisely, loving is the fundamental characteristic of Prakriti. Love contains the impulse for development and expansion, and this love is part of the divine being. In a progressive sequence, 3 gunas, essential qualities, and the 5 tattvas, elementary principles emanated from Prakriti, from nature. These form the basis of all manifestations, of all subtle and gross forms. The 5 tattvas are Akasha, space. From space arose Vayu, air. From Vayu arose Tejas, fire. From fire arose Apas, water. From water arose Prithvi, earth. However, without some impetus, the tattvas cannot unite. For that they require the participation of the gunas, the qualities, which are characterized by the following. There is Rajas, the guna of activity, movement, restlessness, and passion. The guna of tamas, which is rigidity, laziness, darkness, ignorance, and sattva, harmony, light, purity, and knowledge. Tattvas and gunas, the elements and qualities, are the primordial forces that have an effect on both the physical and astral planes. They influence all forms of life, physically, psychically, and spiritually, from the beginning of their earthly existence to their end. Through the multi-layered combinations of these basic powers, the human body, with its highly complex organ, nerve, and brain function, comes into existence, and the psyche and mind are formed. The diverse interactions between the 5 gross tattvas, which form the physical body, are known as prakritis, natural forces. There are 25 prakritis that influence and regulate the systems of the body, which I guess is in a table at the appendix. Let's see if we can find that quickly. Is this it? Yes. There, I'll show you the table. There's quite a few here. I don't know if I'll be able to talk about all of them. So it's on the bottom page here. There are the shariras, the sheaths, the kosha body. There's the gunas, the shakti, the loka, the tattva. There's the stula sharira, the physical body, the anamaya kosha, tamas, avarana shakti, bhurloka, bhuta tattva, and so on. It's divided into many different levels of our being, which is beautiful. We can explore this at another time. I just love how intricate and structured the the spiritual philosophy is of the body and the mind and the physical universe. The Tattvas, the elements that are flowing aimlessly around in space, are independent forces without visible effect. It is not until several of these primordial, undirected forces are concentrated at one point that something qualitatively new is produced. However, first an assembly point must be formed, so the energy can be focused and assimilated. The most highly developed and most powerful center on earth is the human. So just as bees collect around the queen bee, all forces and tattvas follow when the Atma, the self, enters the embryo. In order for a human form to be constructed, the orderly combination of an immense number of effects is necessary. In the same way, but at a lower intensity, animal and plant life come into being. The cosmic forces are collected within the human body at certain central points, called the chakras. These function like powerful power stations. They draw in cosmic energy, transform, store, and distribute it, and then radiate it out into the cosmos again. The tattvas, the elements that combine to form the body as a dwelling for the souls, again detach from one another at death and return to the cosmos. The soul then continues to wander, waiting to produce a new form again under suitable conditions. This cycle is known as Chorasika Chakra, the wheel of rebirth and death. And let's pause our reading of the hidden power in humans there for now, as we've already introduced some wonderful topics. How Prakriti has divided into 3 qualities and 5 elements. The 3 qualities are Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva, which are darkness, passion, and purity. And the 5 elements are space, Akash, Vayu, air, Tejas, fire, Apas, water, and Prithvi, earth. We are forming our elementary education, the groundwork for some beautiful understanding of the nature of chakras and Kundalini at the psycho-spiritual level. So, thank you for listening. Hello, Bean. You share that your anxiety is going crazy tonight. Any advice? You know, sometimes anxiety is like that. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. And what we can do is we can buckle up, keep our hands and limbs in the vehicle at all time, and enjoy the ride. Sounds funny, but anxiety is a flow of emotions, and sometimes all we can do is just let them flow. And as they flow, they move past us. They go from one place to another. Anxiety can never stick with you for long. The physical body, the human body, literally cannot hold these stressful chemicals in the body for long. Eventually, a peace must set in. So we can patiently await for that, and we can do things to help support our levels of being, putting ourselves in a comfortable environment, ensuring that our bodily needs are met. Do we need any water? Do we need fresh air? Do we need sunlight? How's our temperature? Are our clothes overstimulating? Are my eyes getting too much light or not enough? whatever your intuition guides you. If you feel like you need to open a window or go into the shower, you're welcome to explore, try things out. Might as well. Go for a walk. I like that hexagon. We can validate our emotions also. You think you're just overstimulated from work? Well, that makes sense. These human beings, they're so incredibly sensitive. It's no doubt that sometimes we become overstimulated by the barrage of sensations from our eyes and ears and nose and tongue and skin and our mind. It's only natural. And as we progress on the spiritual path, we become more sensitive. Our eyesight seemingly gets sharper, our ears just hear subtones. Our skin becomes sensitive to such subtle fluctuations. It's easier to get overstimulated, but that's if we keep our old ways of patrolling our senses. Before embarking on the spiritual path, we might have lived a very small, ordinary life. We kept things simple so that we could keep track of every moving part. On the spiritual path, we begin to make our life much bigger. And there are suddenly so many moving parts that if we try to keep track of it in the same way, we end up getting frustrated and overwhelmed by it. We just can't control this whole influx of new sensations as we open up to life. So we have to put down our sense of judgment and analysis and just kind of feel it all without trying to figure out how it all works. And if you can be like this, then it doesn't matter if you're the most sensitive instrument in the universe. You just let these sensations come and go without trying to rationalize them. Allow yourself to be. That makes sense. Oh, good. That helps. Hello, dear painted lady. Woodland fairy. It must be late for you. But thank you for your heart me and cheer you up. Best team and a team bracelet you sent a few minutes ago. Om Tatsat. Giselle, you love how when I'm speaking good truth, the chat is quiet. I do have a very lovely audience, and I'm grateful for this. Thank you, Tattvas, for your quintet of roses. Jai Nisargadatta. And thank you, Gina, for your rose. Om Tatsat. Aiden, you're wondering, how did I go from a terrifying math expert to this? I just made a video about that. If you want to check it out. Painted lady, you're wondering if I will be doing early lives for us this month. I will try my best, but my sleep schedule is still not quite where it was before, but it's getting better. So soon enough, I will try for earlier times, since I know many of you, it's very late at night for you. For me, it's not even 5 p.m. yet. It's 5 p.m. somewhere, and it's going to be here. 5 minutes. And that is right, Trisha. We started our new book a few days ago, and we just finished reading another section about the 5 elements and 3 qualities. Wow, it's 1 a.m. there in Scotland, Bean. Well, I do hope I'm not taking you away from sleep. The live did start a little earlier today, though. And thank you, dear Hexagon. Wonky Witch, you had shared that your mother just told you the same thing. And you opened TikTok to this. Well, it must be meant to be then. The universe is here to validate you through me. I take no credit. The universe works through all of us. Sky Guardian, you share very important news that you have switched back to Tabasco after years of frank hot sauce, but Tabasco has no onion and garlic. Well, congratulations. I think hot sauce is still very much Rajasic. Anything whose point is to be really spicy is Rajasic in nature. But as it said, onion and garlic, worse than meat if you're trying for a Sattvic diet. Rajas creates even deeper impressions than tamas. So if you're going to eliminate any of the gunas from your diet, then Rajas is the first one to go. I am sorry, Queen. I did not intend on skipping your comment. Whenever I read someone's comment, I'm not reading others while I'm responding. So my attention is just completely with whoever I'm responding to currently. And as such, my eyes are looking at the camera. And when I look back, there are new comments and I can't keep track of all of them. So please don't take it personally. But you had shared that it's almost 8 in Canada. I am in Canada. Just on the west coast. Hello, Debbie. You are apologizing for missing some of my programs. You feel they are really important. Oh, they are as important as you make them out to be. And you're certainly not missing out on life, since I'll tell you this much. More life takes place outside of this live stream than it does within. Oh, I'm glad you liked them, a board student. Savannah, you share that you eat lots of garlic. It's good for gut health and also has antibacterial benefits. Yes, garlic is a good medicine, but like any medicine, it's not for daily consumption. You wouldn't take Pepto-Bismol every day, even though it's good for your body. Some foods have medicinal properties, other foods are nutritional. Garlic is more medicinal than it is nutritional. It's considered a Rajasic food, which means that it increases the functions of your mind. However, it's a temporary increase, so you feel the drop later. The best food for the spiritual path is one that does not increase the functions of the mind, called Rajasic food, or decrease the functions of the mind, called Tamasic food, but keeps it level. These are foods that aren't very spicy, but are nice and sweet and flavorful, like legumes and superfoods, like avocados, like fruits, like seeds and nuts, like rice, oats, these sorts of things, bread, staple foods, not too spicy. However, I have to be very careful with my words because we are also attached to the food we eat. I don't want a riot. I don't want to start a riot. Bobby Sue, thank you for your heart meat, your team bracelet, your best team, and your cheer you up too. Hare Krishna. And Hrisi, thank you for your 11 finger hearts. Om Namah Shakti Shivaya. Gizmo, you ask, what kind of food do I eat? All of the above that I mentioned. I try to eat very sattvically. Foods that you neither go into a food coma after eating or have you jumping off the walls. A Sattvic diet, it's called. Also known as a yogic diet. It's the diet of the yogis. It is said that if you can master your tongue, then you master the mind. If you can get your tongue to eat in a certain way, you can get your mind to work in a certain way. Many of you love avocado. I love avocado too. You know, there's lots of love for avocados going around. And welcome, dear Bobby Sue. Internal silence. You're wondering, what's my favorite Upanishad? Well, based on your name, I believe Upanishad means literally to sit down at the feet of a teacher and to listen to their teaching. It's the kind of teaching that comes when we surrender. And what sound becomes the sweetest to our ears when we do finally surrender, when we take Upanishad? It is that sweet internal silence, isn't it? In the beginning there was silence. From the silence originated the pranav, Om. From the pranav descended the Vedas. And from the Vedas we got the Upanishads. So if we follow back the train of the genealogy of sound, Upanishad, Veda, Pranav, and we can't give it a name. And thank you, Estrelina, for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Lori, thank you for your heart, me too. And a tiny. Yippee! Goodbye, dear Linda Lou. A good use of emojis, 19. Indeed, there is a sock on the microphone, but not just any kind of sock. A very special kind of sock. Savannah, you meant to ask me, do I have any advice on patience with a spouse? On patience with a spouse? A very oddly specific question. Well, oftentimes you are the patient of your spouse. That your significant other has a medicine of their own, and that's the love they have for you. When our significant other tells us to do something, sometimes that's the doctor's orders, you know? She has spoken. However, we can't be one who fulfills the role of every need in our significant other's life. We can't be their doctor and therapist and grocer and botanist and meteorologist and whatever. But we can nurture them with the medicine of love. Thank you, dear Laurie, for another 6 roses too. Hari Om Tat Sat. Mermander, you share, looks beautiful here. How is my flower on the porch? Remind me of her name. Her name is Tulasi Devi. Or Tulasi for short. Devi means goddess. Goddess Tulasi. She's a goddess. All of these plants are really. That is why she is called Mother Nature. She was doing all right. She was doing really well, getting really, really big. But then I think she bit off too much for herself to chew. Now she's expending so much energy. Her leaves are starting to fold up. I'm doing my best to try to prune her, to not have all the energy that she's using go to waste to places that are ultimately going to drain her. But yeah, she's a source of much devotion for me. It's crazy what they can do with green screens these days. They have, this AI component which makes them interactive. Now, Mermander, you had asked, do I have a video game / have a favorite? Well, recently I've been playing Terraria. I just love Terraria. And Debbie Leon, you had asked, how did I know this would be my calling? I didn't. And I don't. All I know is that when I am connecting with all of you, I feel like I am doing my part to be kind as much as I can be, listen, learn from all of you. G2 Infinity, you had asked, how am I able to read from my laptop? I don't know, good vision, I guess. I just can. Now, scrolling up to find Tom Gilbert's question. Would I consider myself religious, or do I separate religion from spirituality? Everything is connected. There are no true separations. However, it's squares and rectangles. It's not that a square is separate from a rectangle. It's a particular kind of rectangle. In fact, all squares are rectangles. They are a subset, but not all rectangles are squares. Not all shapes in the Euclidean plane with 4 sides and right angles are square, but they are all rectangles. Similarly, although all religion is a form of spirituality, not all spirituality takes on religious connotations. For example, meditation is very spiritual, but what religion do you have to be to meditate? Do you have to be Christian? Do you have to be Buddhist? You could even be an atheist and meditate. So it's a spiritual endeavor that does not require any particular religious affiliation. To be really precise, religion is an aspect of bhakti yoga, which is the path of devotion. And the path of devotion is just an aspect of yoga in general. And yoga is just one of the 6 branches of Indian philosophy. Or you could say that it is the root of all spiritual practices, and everything descends from yoga, as Vishwa Guruji puts it in the book that we're reading together. Ryan, you're wondering, what is my opinion for someone that can't stop drinking? I have no opinion on their addiction. If they are addicted to something, that's not who they are. The person is so much beyond their addictions, and I can love and support them for who they are, but I can't support their addiction. I did not cause it. I cannot change it. I cannot stop it. All of that is their own personal endeavor. The most I can do is be a person for them to confide in. And hello, Charlotte. I am doing well. You share that you're Catholic. That's wonderful. Happy to have you here. And thank you, Dob Darker, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Internal silence you share. They always leave out Tantra from the 6 darshanas. Sort of annoys you. Well, that is kind of what Tantra means. It means the outsider's path. It's the one that does not conform to all the rest, but takes inspiration from all of them. Tantra is kind of a catch-all for all of the esoteric traditions that don't neatly fall into any rigid structure. And that's the nature of Tantra. That's why we love Tantra. If Tantra were formal, like the other schools, it wouldn't be Tantra, would it? But it definitely deserves the same respect as the others, just in a different way. And thank you, Ryan, for your quintet of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I agree, Debbie. Mother Nature teaches us so much if we only quietly listen and watch. Yeah. And thank you, Trenchant Luminescence, for your heart meme. Mermander, you share that I should make a dorodango. You think you spelled that right. What is that? I feel like I've heard that before. I forget. Bren, you had asked, what advice do I give to someone to cultivate their spiritual gifts? My mother always told me that we get our superpowers the more good that we do. And I think she used that to help me clean my room, but I still believe her. That if you want superpowers, they're received by doing the most good you can. The more kind you are, the more humble you are, incredible spiritual abilities will develop within you. And it's a matter of practicality. If you consider the universe simply as a love distribution network, we are nodes on that network. If we make the most connections, if we try to make the most love deliveries as much as possible, then the more love will naturally be allocated towards us so that we can go about giving it at an even higher level. Love people, feed people, help people. Jai Gurudev Nim Karoli Baba. Thank you, Debbie. Ryan, you had also asked, what would my advice for someone who can't stop the ritualistic drinking? I'll tell them a story of this chef who was training someone in their kitchen. What is a name for a new chef in the cooking world? I know that it's kind of like a military sometimes. There's different regiments. Is there a name for a private of the cooking world? For now, we'll call it a new chef. A sous chef. Great. And what would be the top dog? The general. So if a sous chef is who's on the front lines, who's leading the place? The Xef. Just chef, perhaps. Okay. Anyway, this sous chef, right? They were cutting all these vegetables, and almost every time that the head chef had gotten them to chop up some vegetables, they kept cutting themselves. This would happen again and again and again. And the sous chef would say, "Head chef, this knife is too sharp. What do we do about it? How can we get this knife to be less sharp?" And the head chef just laughed and said, "You'll learn, you'll learn." But one day the head chef noticed that the sous chef was dulling the blade with a rock. They had gotten a rock from outside and at a 90-degree angle was just filing away at the blade's edge. The head chef asked, "What are you doing?" Sous chef said, "I'm making the blade duller. That way I don't cut myself." Head chef said, "Well, if you can't cut yourself, how are you going to cut all the other vegetables, which are even harder than your thin skin?" See, it's like this. You don't need a dull blade to stop yourself from being hurt. You need a steady hand, like mine. And so the head chef grabs the blade, he moves it around, chop, 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 chop. Even closes his eyes, chop, 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 chop. And he doesn't get a single nick, a single scratch. Now in real life, we have a mind that can be so sharp that it ends up cutting itself. What I mean is that a person can be so smart, so intelligent, so sensitive, that they end up getting pierced by their inability to direct their sensitivity. But yet, in our culture, we lack a head chef that can tell us how to steady our mind, rather than dull it through substances such as drugs and alcohol. We dull our mind so that we don't hurt ourselves by it. But yet equivalently, if we just steady our intellect, we can be as sensitive, we can be as sharp as we want. We can be able to dissect the most esoteric of concepts and dive deep into the opening of each emotion with the precision of the blade that is the human mind. As long as we don't dull it, but rather keep our intellect steady, we make informed decisions, and we keep the right knowledge in mind, we will be able to have a steady grasp on our mind without the need to divert it into drugs and alcohol. Until then, we can forgive ourselves for the habit that we've come into, and we can bring our mind to higher and higher habits which will eventually replace the slower one, and we will become more sensitive to the deep aspects of life, but no longer feel like we have to suppress these feelings, but embrace them. That is what I would say. And thank you, Ryan, for asking such a deep question, and thank you for your quintet of roses you sent earlier too. Hare Krishna. And thank you, Timothy, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Painted Lady, thank you for your 10 roses too. Om Kring Kalikaye Namaha. And thank you, Alan, for your finger heart. And Anna, thank you for your ice cream cone. Om Brahm Bhairavaya Namo Namaha. Tattvam Asi. Thank you for your trio of roses. And thank you, Jacqueline, for your finger heart. Andy, you had asked, why are plant medicines and substances here? What worthwhile experiences can come from them? Like all medicines, their purpose is to treat an ailment. And we may partake in the treatment until the ailment subsides. Most psychoactive medicines, their purpose is to open a person's mind. Many of us, including a younger version of myself, was very stubborn, and I had a very deep lack of empathy for the people around me and the suffering around the world. Instead of trying to understand it, I used a mask of logic and science to hide behind the facts of life that couldn't be rationalized. It took a psychedelic experience, that medicine, to treat my ignorance. And once the ignorance was dissolved, I never had to take it again because the cure was found. See, the difference between plant medicine and modern medicine is that modern medicine is a subscription system, a subscription service. You have to take a pill every month and you do this the rest of your life. But that only manages the symptoms, not the cause. Plant medicines are meant to dig out the weeds at the roots, thus you really only need to use it once. Instead of a pill to suppress the symptoms, it is a vaccine to eliminate the cause. Once we weed out the cause of ignorance, then our spiritual journey really begins. Grateful human, you share that you've been discussing with someone gentleness at all times. Please provide my perspective. Gentleness is such an important quality to harbor. The more we can live in a gentle world, the deeper we can rest within our own self at all times. In a world with so many walls up, everyone's in defensive mode, survival mode. We can never relax. Gentleness means that there's no walls between you and I. It's that I will be glad to be vulnerable with you because I don't see you as an enemy, nor should you see me as yours. Gentleness is an affirmation that we mean no harm. We're not here to compete. We're here to share the resources and help each other. In a world without anger, without violence, gentleness could be around all of the time. However, sometimes we require a little bit of a hard shell because there is suffering in the world. There are places where it is best to be protecting of your resources, like when a mother is protecting her children in a dangerous environment. It helps to be a little aggressive. As long as that aggression is a last resource, used for the protection of what matters dearest to you, without the sacrifice of other people's well-being, then there can be exceptions to gentleness. But gentleness is our first priority. It's the first way we should handle a difficult situation, and then go from there. That is true, Jacqueline. Most times kindness is seen as a weakness. If that's true, then I'd rather be weak than strong. I'd rather be soft and squishy and vulnerable than hard and rough and unbreakable. In other news, Sky Guardian, you share that I remind you of yourself at 22, as you used to go into your class in pajamas until your professor barred you. You straight up said, "Don't come to my class in your pajamas." I never had a professor like that. Living on the West Coast, I think all the professors are hippies. I showed up to class in a house coat one day, just as I'm wearing a house coat now. That is true, Debbie. Gentleness can stop someone who is aggressive sometimes. It is always a tool we should reach for first in our toolkit of human interaction. Sometimes that's all the aggressor needs, is to be shown a little gentleness, thus their own defensiveness winds down. When this doesn't work, however, there are other tools in our toolbox. Hello, dear Teresa. You're wondering, what's my day job? You know, I don't feel like I have one. All of my living expenses are covered by generous viewers like you. And I never even have to ask for it because my living expenses are not that much. Grateful human, you're wondering, should we avoid confrontation? Well, if someone is confronting us with something that we need to hear, then we should be willing to hear tough news. If we are confronting someone, there has to be a deep level of trust there. Right now, the way the world works, I have to solve a puzzle to prove that I'm real. Puzzle solved. Okay. Right now, the way the world works, most people want to change something about someone else. And it's possible to influence change in others, but only after a great deal of trust and love has developed. You can tell a stranger to do this or not do that, something else, but it's really our loved ones that really listen. Confrontation is a big move, and it should only be done when there's a very solid friendship, at the very least, that we can fall back on. That is why I often don't engage in arguments with people that are new here. People who are new here, I'd like to become closer before we can, have an argument of sorts. Otherwise, what will happen if things get heated? how we'll be able to come to resolution. We probably won't be able to. We'll just go our separate ways without being able to understand one another. So I reserve confrontation to those who I love and those who trust me. Because then I know my voice can be heard, and that I'll be able to comfort them later. Thank you, Gais Karim, for your 30 roses, your disco love, your finger heart, and your pair of tiny dinies. Yippee! And your 46 roses, and another 23. Very kind of you. Jai Sita Ram. And thank you, Rianan, for your hand hearts. And your trio of tiny dinies. Yahoo! And Grateful Human, thank you for your tiny diny too. G to Infinity, you share that my friends must be accustomed to my confrontation then. No, even though I leave confrontation only to my friends, that doesn't mean I do any confrontation. Most times it's unnecessary. Danielle, you ask, what if a loved one, like a spouse, brings conflict and doesn't accept agreeing to disagree? Do they know what they signed up for? A relationship is all about compromise. If they are unwilling to compromise, it sounds like, although you see them as a spouse, they don't really see you as someone to compromise for, someone to see as a spouse. Maybe you can remind them of this, that a relationship is unhealthy when it's so one-sided. Thank you, Chris, for your heart me. Howdy, Marcy. And thank you, Vince of York, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Kais Karim, for your money gun. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Thank you for your quintet of tiny dinies too. Yippee! And you're wondering, have I considered doing podcasts, as this has been very helpful in bringing you back to your values? Well, I upload all of the live streams, and so they kind of act like a playlist. You can find them on my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel. On the same channel also, there's a playlist of all the podcasts that I have been honored to be a guest on. And that includes one recently with one of our guests here, Vince of York. Together we were on the Bearded Mystic podcast with some other guests discussing the nature of Advaita Vedanta and teachings and liberation. Hello, dear mom. Just follow the extension cord. You have a beautiful dress.
What, thank you?
Would you like to show the internet?
No.
No?
They can see it. They're not going to want to see my dress. How is everybody today?
Everyone is doing as best as they can.
How is everyone feeling today? There. It's good to see you. Ooh, I am standing in oregano. Oregano, I don't know if anyone grows oregano, but it just takes over There's astilbes and peonies and roses, and they are... Herbs always win. What's happening? Come to Brazil. We have looked at Brazil. It is beautiful. Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous. Hey there. Hello, beautiful. My dress. Isn't that fun? Yeah, it's a good color. It's just joy. It brings a lot of joy.
Does it have pockets?
You know what? And I don't know about, sorry guys on this one, but maybe even the guys who do wear dresses. But girls, whenever you get a dress, don't you admit that the first thing you do when someone compliments it, if it has pockets, you go, it's got pockets, because that's exactly. And you know what? Sadly, it does not have pockets, this one. But the color and the joy make up for it. So, it's so nice to see you, everyone. As you can see, I am excited about seeing you today. Yeah. Skincare routine, please. You're very sweet. I am old. But it's the island. It's ocean air. It is ocean air. I don't know where you guys all live. Where is everyone from?
Many, many places.
Yeah. Well, I won't keep you because you have a lot to share with each other. I love you too. Thank you. Ontario, Canada. Lives. Thanks, Luna. I like your name, Luna, though. Washington, Florida. Wow, Yemen. Aw, how lovely. Australia, California, Ireland. Pennsylvania. Hairspray Betty. Hi from Detroit. Hi, Detroit. Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. Texas. I love this. Germany. Look at that. Tennessee. I'm a country girl. Okay. Remember, you're beautiful and you are loved. You are worthy of being loved. And you are so much more than you can possibly know to me just being able to say hi to you guys. So have a good rest of your night or evening or mornings or day. Look at that. Take care. Love you. And you. Look at that. See what happens when... Look at this face. Watch. It's like, ugh, mom kisses. That's cute.
Thank you, Mom.
That's exciting.
Always a wonderful cameo. Mother Moon, Mama Moon. Now, thank you, Kais Karim, for your 9 roses you sent earlier. Gina, thank you for your pair of roses. And Isabella, thank you for your quintet of roses. Thank you, Inevitable, for your trio. Radhe, Radhe. And Hairspray Betty, thank you for your flowers. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And thank you, Anna, for your half a dozen roses too. I'm glad you all love my mom. I love her too. Of course, I have to. You know, she cooked this body in her oven. She baked it. Took a while, a lot of resources, and then she made it grow with the yeast of her love. Hello, Viraj. Thank you, Limestone City Hydroponics, for your tiny. Yippee! Stormy Ariel, you're wondering, have I watched Midnight Gospel? I think I've seen a few episodes. Some people have shown them to me, but I haven't sat down and watched it myself. And thank you, Thomas Witch, for your 7 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Internal silence. You're wondering if I have a personal favorite teacher. Yours would have to be Abhinava Gupta. Well, that's wonderful. I've never heard of this wonderful teacher. I've had many teachers in my life, and you just saw one of them. My mother, for example. I feel very dispersed in my teachings because I listen to many different great teachers, but their geography seems to always be around the same place. And I'm very attracted to the teachings that have arisen around regions like Bharat, like Nepal, Tibet, the Indian subcontinent in general. Something's around the region of the Himalayas that's so ancient and so sincere that my attention always goes back there. The sun hat is very confusing to me. I'm trying to find the right combination of folds to keep the sun out of my eyes. I could come into the shadows. No, never. I always be in the sun. Now, Neo, you ask, are our gods aliens? Oh, I think that would be undermining the infinitude of their being. For the divinity responsible for this universe is so much greater than anything that has been created in the universe. Think about this. If our universe has a God, then it's the same God even of the aliens. Isn't it so? Not just for all the different humans and animals and plants on Earth, but for the whole universe. All the beings throughout. Although a really powerfully, technologically potent civilization could probably simulate great powers of nature, even nature dwarfs in comparison to the ultimate source from which it has arisen. Beyond that, God is also omnipresent and omniscient. Not even an alien race can be said to be omnipresent, that is within all things. Remember that God is not just a really powerful being. God is our own inner consciousness, the inner light which shines forth and illumines our mind and eyes and ears and all of our other senses. An alien cannot be that for you. An alien cannot be the lightless light that shines forth from our pure Chaitanya awareness. Now, speaking of God, Viraj, you ask, do I consider God separate from the universe, or one and the same? Both. God is both immanent and transcendent. What do I mean by that? That source, which is capable of producing this moment, is also capable of producing innumerable other variants of this moment. So God is one with what has been created here, but there is a lot more to creation than what meets the eye. That infinite potential can only ever be known in part. That is practically the definition of infinity. Infinity means that nothing finite can ever represent the whole, which is infinite. And thank you, Stacy Louise, for your owl. Hari Om Tat Sat. Guys, Kareem, you're wondering, have I heard of Billy Carson? That name sounds familiar, but I don't recall. CJ, you're wondering, does God punish? God never punishes. But humans use God to punish other humans. God is the well-wisher of all sentient beings. Nothing bad ever happens to spirit. We might go through karmic lessons. We might go through material circumstances that are difficult and challenging. But never is it a punishment. Punishment is a very emotionally immature way of teaching someone something. And God, being the all-knower, knows this, you know. He has much more elaborate methods of teaching that only involve uplifting you. Sometimes we can become humbled by it, absolutely. But all that is our own doing, whether we make ourselves to feel big or small. The divine only wishes well for us, but we get ourselves into a lot of trouble. And thank you, dear Usha Bai, for your garland headpiece. Hari Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya. And thank you for sending your book to all of us to read again. It's very lovely. G2 Infinity, you share the sunset is giving Hobbit Shire vibes. Well, there's still many hours till sunset, but slowly and surely the sun is indeed setting. Thank you, dear Usha, for your rosa. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Kent and Lisa, for your heart me. Debbie, you asked, do I do yoga? I try to practice, first and foremost, karma yoga, the yoga of my actions. And secondly, bhakti yoga, the yoga of my heart, the yoga of love and devotion. And thirdly, that is Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and understanding. Marcy, you share that I'm being stubborn to admit that the sun is setting. I can prove it to you that it's not setting yet. So here's my streaming setup. You can see my house line forms the horizon. There's a big bush. You know, if the sun were in this period of the sky, it would certainly be setting. But the sun is actually way up there still. It's got a long way to go before it gets to the horizon. Where are Sandy and Shadow? My two kitties are inside. I think sometimes they get tired from the heat and they have to go cool down in the basement. Guys, Kareem, you're wondering, what do I think of Kundalini Yoga? Well, it's very fascinating to the intellect, isn't it? It definitely draws in many spiritual seekers because of its ability to use such provocative, esoteric language, as though there is some dormant energy coiled around the base of our spine like a serpent, and it shoots up. There are various methods of contorting our body and our breath and our intellect. There is absolutely an art and science to this, but we have to be very careful not to become too obsessed with our body. As we live in a very body-centric culture, everything revolves around our body. What it looks like, how it feels like. And so it's no doubt that when spirituality comes over from the east to the west, the first thing that we're interested in is the body-centric yogas, like Hatha Yoga, like Asana Yoga, like Kundalini Yoga. We have to understand that although this is an important part of yoga, what we do with our body, there are perhaps more important parts of yoga which we should attend to first, and that is the yoga of how we connect with one another, the yoga of what we do with our heart, with our mind, the yoga of how we feed ourselves and how we go to bed at night. These are important yogas that have a priority towards more subtle aspects of life rather than the physical body. But the book that we're reading is a lot about chakras and Kundalini from a realized master, and not just someone from the West who's heard of these words from a fellow hippie. So the words are used in their appropriate context and everything. Thank you, dear Isabella, for your pair of roses. And thank you, Alec, for your rose too. Bren, you shared that you've started doing Kundalini meditation, but you don't know if you're doing it right. That's the thing, is without a realized teacher there to guide you through it, it's all just kind of playing around with what we think looks right or feels right. And although there is a huge portion of self-discovery, the precise techniques require a living guru in your physical presence to guide you. Until then, we should try to become meditative in our words, in our thoughts, in our actions. Instead of a stereotypical meditation practice where we sit down, this will not be beneficial until we have a teacher, a living teacher. So we should focus on something more practical, like being kinder to others, like taking care of our body, getting the right nutrition and exercise. We should focus on our relationships and cultivating a positive environment. This is the first step. Meditation comes later. Way later. In fact, it's very, very, very rare that even a living master will tell you to sit down and meditate. So I would not worry about meditation, let alone Kundalini meditation. Leave that for maybe the next lifetime. Until then, let's focus on being better humans, being more grounded in nature and speaking words of positivity and build relationships on trust, associating with right people and building a better future together. Andy, you ask, do I ever experience such a synchronicity with other people where I relate to everything or very specific things? Or perhaps do I just see everything as manifestations of one energy, relatable to the ego, relatable to ego or not? You ask some very wonderful questions, Andy. Of course, the more we develop a connection with someone, the more communication happens on other levels that are beyond physical. And yes, all of this world is a manifestation of one source. Scientists call it the singularity. Religious people call it God. People in between can call it the Godularity. I just made that word up, though. When we say that the divine is omnipresent, what we mean is that it's present in all of these things, as all of these things. That there is nothing but God. God is there in a tree, in a blade of grass, in the sun and moon. God is there in a little kitty, in the love between lovers and the lovers themselves. There is nothing but the divine. Ta-da! Shares Marcy. Ta-da! And no, Sky Guardian, I have not decided on a time with Yogi yet. Dramatica, you were wondering, what astrological sign am I? Well, I was born as a Libra, but the older we get, the more we become like all of the other signs. This is a secret. Most astrologers won't tell you this, but actually the star that you're born under is not the same sign that you are right now. There's an evolution of signs that take place. And ideally, according to astrological injunction, if you take the least common multiple of all the astrological cycles, it totals to 120 years. After 120 years, one should have acquired the virtues of all signs. So if you are a quarter of the way through your life, then you are a representative of a quarter of the signs. If you are halfway through your life, then you are a representative of half of the signs. And the elderly people who have seen and experienced so much of life, they are able to represent, ideally, all of the signs. So in any given moment, you can go between signs as you get older, as you become more spiritually mature. If a circumstance desires you to be more extroverted or more introverted, you can fill that role. Point is, we're not defined to any particular role in life. That eventually we become independent from our material circumstance, which includes the motion, the orbits of all the planets. Jacqueline, you shared, it's good to know. You're tired of people assuming that you're indecisive because you're a Libra. Indeed. Astrology has become a way of marginalizing people and putting them into boxes in the same way we do through racism or sexism or other prejudice systems of discrimination. Ultimately, we should see beyond each other's status of birth, color of their skin, their star sign, etc., because a human being is so much more than their material circumstances. It can be a gateway for many into spiritual things, spirituality. But if we get caught up in identifying with things, then we ultimately limit our ego, and then we limit the egos of everyone else by putting them in boxes too. The definition of the spirit means that it goes beyond identity. It means that you are not this body, not this mind. Haven't you heard that? Any spiritual circle you go, they will tell you, you are not this body, not this mind. But you know what that also means? It means you are not this star sign either. Because that only applies to body, to mind. You are beyond this. You do not fill into any categories. Now thank you, Jay, for your 27 tiny tinies. Yippee! And thank you, Gandalf, for your pumpkin spice latte. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Usha Bai, for your heart me too. Pure Insanity, you're asking, have I ever been to Nepal or any plans to go? I would love to one day. I don't think I have a plan to go to Nepal right now, but I am planning on going to India as soon as I can. Oh, hello and good night, dear Priscilla. Now, Sky Guardian, you were wondering if the interview with Yogi Bai is happening this week. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. Trust, my friend, trust the process. But I know you are very excited. Now I'm happy that you like this space, Alcoholic Jesus. It's all yours to share with me, at least virtually. But spiritually, I feel your presence here too. Eden, you're wondering, where have I been in this lifetime? Physically, Canada. Spiritually, all over the world. All over the universe. Thank you, Trenchant Luminescence, for your best team, your cloud bread, your friendship necklace, and your music play. Om Krim Kalikaye Namaha. Well, I can't decide whether you want to harass him or not, Sky Guardian. But I will say that sometimes the more we pressure someone to do something, the less willing they might actually do it. And so, in the interest of maximizing my chance to have a chat with dear Yogi Bai, I would ask of you to not be so persistent that he has to do this, because I know that he is very busy and that he is working as a professor at Columbia University and working on his PhD dissertation and has many health ailments and commitments to the Swaminarayan community. It's often when people know that there's no pressure that they feel the most relieved to do it. It is probably how at the beginning he was so willing, because he knows that it's not a big deal, that I'm not some big news organization, rapid fire questions, that it's nice and open-ended, as much time as he's willing to commit. Hi, you are wondering, do I have a religion? My religion is humanity. And whatever you believe in, as long as it's inclusive, I only wish to uplift you in that direction. Have you ever played racing games and you have a speed boost on the ground? And if you drive over the speed boost, you get extra speed? That's all I'd like this space to be in your spiritual journey. That you are already headed on a direction. I'm not here to redirect you, only to give you a speed boost in your current direction. Thank you, Andy, for your trio of disco loves. Om Shri Mahalakshmaya Namaha. Space Dust, you're wondering, do I have any Jewish ancestry? Not that I know of. I don't know of anyone in my family that was Jewish. My ancestry is mostly Irish, and as many of you know, the Catholics, the Irish are famously Catholic. So there is a lot of Catholicism in my family, but not in my immediate family. Not even my grandparents. Actually, that's not true. Some of my grandparents are Christian. Marmander, you're wondering, how does my family feel about my lives? Do they ever join or watch? Well, my mother was just here. Didn't you see her? You were in here earlier, and now you're in here. In between that you were here earlier and here now, you must have missed my mother. But yeah, they like to watch my lives, and they're very supportive of it. Orla, you share that some of them are prods, don't you know? Don't tell my grandmother that. And Krusty Krab Pizza, thank you for your hand hearts. Hariom Tatsat. Sky Guardian, you share, oh God, you hope they don't read your nonsense. Oh, they do. Let me tell you. But they're not judgmental people. I will, Mermander. Don't worry. Explorer, you share there's a lot of Christianity in yours, but you more so would associate yourself with Buddhism. It's a wonderful fact of life that we can go in a different direction from our parents if we want. Now, if we're totally content with the way we're brought up, no problem. No need to change what ain't broke. Ain't that right? If it ain't broke, why fix it? But no family is perfect. That is part of the reason they brought us into this world, to add to it in our own unique way. And as we do, we're allowed to change from our tradition. We're allowed to pave a new way forward for future generations to come. Mermander, you share that my cats definitely judge you all. Maybe. My cats are pretty sweet though. You know, I've never been bitten or scratched. I don't think my cats have ever looked at me like they hate me. They're just always so full of love. It's weird. They're not very cat-like in that regard. They're just such balls of sweetness and joy. I love them dearly. And Tyler, you're wondering if I can talk about what I talked about in the video I posted today. Well, I didn't post a video today, but if you're referring to the one from a few days ago, I made a video just acknowledging that I had stopped making videos and then I had transitioned to making live content. It was a kind of joke video. If you're looking for deeper meaning, you'll find that anywhere. Thank you, Hybrid Jen, for your 11 roses. Radhe, Radhe. I hope you are doing as well as you can in this moment, and that your children are well. I hope that the sirens behind me aren't too loud for you. Someone is getting the help they need, and that's wonderful. Welcome, Elliot. You share that video is why you're here, and you've never attended a live before. Well, welcome. I think it's a pretty interesting environment. Lots of different people coming together to share their feelings. Hybrid Jen, you share the farmer's market was cancelled due to heat. 106 degrees outside right now. Wow. I don't know what that is in Celsius. But 100 sounds like a big number to me. So, I imagine it's pretty hot. Thank you, G. It's like 40. That's pretty hot. Yeah, I'd be a popsicle. I'd be a melted popsicle, in fact. Now, 31 planes of existence, you're wondering, do I think that love is just another simple emotion, or is it something greater? My dear, love is the fundamental force that binds everything in this universe. I don't know what doctor has made the correlation between love and chemicals in the brain, but they must not have been very loved. Because anyone who has experienced love will know that it goes beyond biology. It goes beyond chemistry. It goes so far beyond anything physical. Love is the conscious witnessing of a person's being. Love is the very awareness from which this universe is illuminated. Love is that deep-seated presence upon which our entire civilization is built. If love were merely a chemical interaction, they would have isolated it, put it in a pill, and you could take your love supplement. But the truth is that nothing can supplement love because it's not a molecule. It's not a chemical interaction. It's not a neural impulse. It is existence. It is consciousness. It is bliss. It is not that which can be known by science. It is that from which everything can be known. Tyler, you say, not in regards to your question, not the video, but the one with triangles. Oh, yes, I unprivated that video, but that video is many years old. I liked how my old videos would get conversations moving, but this is part of the reason why I did private them, is that they'd provoke the mind. They'd get you to ask questions, but they'd never satisfy you. The Sierpinski triangle is a fractal that exists in mathematics. It arises in various different circumstances, almost miraculously. But will it tell you how to love more? Will it help you be a better son, a better brother, a better friend? It is a toy that the mind can play with. That's really all I have to say about math now. We can talk about it, but it's just a fantasy. I've discovered that real life takes place here, now. And it's a hard truth because I love math so deeply. But I love real life so much more. Now, 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 oh, that's the Rumi. I think my internet disconnected me for a second. I'll wait until the sirens have passed to read this anyway. Real, you share that math is used to describe certain aspects of the universe and how physics in this realm works. Indeed. But is there an equation for happiness that can be solved? Will understanding how the galaxies move bring about deep peace? I do not wish to speak lowly of mathematics. However, something must be said of the fact that it did not bring me joy. Joy must be found in ways beyond intellectual stimulation. And I do not wish to be known as the math guy. All right. Let me read from another passage of the Bhagavad Pema Chodran. This passage is called In the State of Nowness. I imagine you can't read that from here. We are given changes all the time. We can either cling to security, or we can let ourselves feel exposed, as if we had just been born, as if we had just popped out into the brightness of life and were completely naked. Maybe that sounds too uncomfortable or frightening, but on the other hand, it's our chance to realize that this mundane world is all there is. And we could see it with new eyes and at long last wake up from our ancient sleep of preconceptions. The truth, said an ancient Chinese master, is neither like this nor like that. It is like a dog yearning over a bowl of burning oil. He can't leave it because it is too desirable. He can't lick it because it is too hot. So how do we relate to that squeeze? Somehow, someone finally needs to encourage us to be inquisitive about this unknown territory and about the unanswerable question of what's going to happen next. The state of nowness is available in that moment of squeeze. In that awkward, ambiguous moment is our own wisdom and mind. Right there, in the uncertainty of everyday chaos, is our own wisdom mind. Thank you for listening. Now that the sun is setting, or getting closer to setting, my phone stand is becoming like the moon shadow. I'll have a solar eclipse just for me. I think those are some wise words from dear Pema. There is something about vulnerability that is so freeing. As we have made our way so far with footholds, handholds, and mindholds. From the moment we were born, we were holding our with footholds, handholds, and mindholds. From the moment we were born, we were holding on, have held on to for so long. A kind of freeing up of space for us to be here unconditionally. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see my eyes. Since the sun is now level with my camera, I have to squint now when I look at you. Was there a glitch? Did you miss the Pema reading? On my end, it did not seem to cut out. But perhaps you can let me know. My internet appears to be fine on my end. No, just the last little bit. It's fine now. The end of what I was saying. Oh, well, it's okay. As long as you heard Pema, that's okay. I was just giving some commentary. Pema's words are much more important than mine anyway. But thank you, 31 Planes of Existence, for your hand hearts that you gave. I appreciate that. Hare Krishna and Ragnhildur. Thank you for your trio of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And thank you, Brilliant Genius, for your rose. And Hybrid Gen, thank you for another disco love. Om Namah Shakti Shivaya. And Gulai, thank you for your wonderful rose too. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Goodbye, Viraj. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you, Eden, for your subscription. It's very kind of you. And I look forward to the adventures that we may have together in the Sangha. Now that we are nearing the 2-hour mark of our live today, perhaps it would be a good time to begin to wrap things up. But we can land the plane ever so slowly as we can go through our various segments. Hello, Catpo. Well, you have arrived at the perfect time. Although we are almost going to end the live today, all things happen at the right time. This is my belief. And I'm very grateful for the connections that we've made thus far. As we end today's Sangha, I'd like to ask you all a question of the day, which I asked at the beginning and I will ask again. Today I'm wondering, what other ways can we express our thoughts beyond words? Speaking of planes, I'm glad you heard that, Sky Guardian. That plane will be landing shortly. And hello, dear Anazek. Thank you for being here, Alcoholic Jesus. Thank you, Pheromone, for your heart me and your 10 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Here, if I go into the shadow, then I won't be squinting at you. And Violet Light, thank you for your community festo. Hari Om Tat Sat. On to the question of the day. Dali, you share by action, of course. Action is the loudest of all forms of communication. And you echo that, Priscilla. Jacqueline, you share that you think in essence by art. I believe you are very right with this. Jenny, you share by singing and dancing. It's wonderful. Teresa, you share by what we prioritize and give our time to. Wow, that does say a lot, doesn't it? The universal language of music, shares Magdalene. You are so right. Gardening Gregorji, you share telekinesis by sending texts, shares Sky Guardian. Oh wait, it says beyond words. Well, if you interpreted that as spoken word, then you're right, written word. Instagram DMs, shares Stimulus Check. Prayer, shares G to Infinity. I love that, and I love how you imply that prayer can be without words, beyond words too. Sign language, shares Eden. That's a good one. Kimberly, you share you can with food and eyes. Oh, very true. With gifts, shares Lexus. You're very right with that. And speaking of which, thank you, Timothy, for your gift of a music play just a second ago. Om Namah Shivaya. User 308, you share dance. And BDE, you share making a bracelet for a friend. I love that. Yeah. Friendship bracelets are so cute and a wonderful part of our humanity. And thank you, John F., for your heart, me too. A hug, shares Debbie. Dance and song, shares Marcia. And love and actions. Instrumental music, shares Gaia. These are all such wonderful answers. I love how many ways we can communicate beyond words. Tyler, you share, you just bat your blue eyes. That's sweet. Me too. Jay, you share our expression of empathy and appreciation for one another. With your eyes, shares Hybrid Jen. By being and living now, shares Simona. And thank you, Lord. It helps when this garden around me is already glowing. Eden, you share what we communicate with our cats. Yeah. So much of human-animal interaction happens beyond words. Even if we do use words, it's not the words themselves. It's the tone and the sentiment that our animals can pick up on. Nice to meet you again, Pheromone. And Hybrid Jen, you add hand movements too, or leg? Sure, why not? Gregor, you shared that you meant telepathy. Isn't that what you said? Or did you say telekinesis? I'm scrolling up. You did say telekinesis. Well, my mind knew what you meant. I interpreted it in the way you intended. So don't worry. Acts of service, shares Catpo. I love that. Usha, you share my sweet mother just showed us. With a kiss. Yes. And Marcia, you share body language. There, that was some what did I just say by doing that? I just said I'm sleepy, didn't I? I'm eepy. Being open and at ease, shares Marcia. And via the heart, shares Lord. I love the word via. It's a great word. And art, shares Hybrid Jen. Alright, thank you everyone. And laughing, that's another great one, Debbie. Good stuff, everyone. I love exploring this question. You all have such wonderful insights, and I'm deeply honored to have a chance to share them with everyone as I read them out loud, as I have the space. I think it's wonderful what we can do when we put our minds together, our hearts together. So thank you. I think now that the sun has gone beyond the tree, I don't need this sun hat anymore. Thank you, Anizek, for your trio of roses. Om Brahm Bhairvaya Namo Namaha. So, in this last section, let us read from another section of dear Usha Bai's Guru's book, The Hidden Power in Humans, Chakras and Kundalini. The last time we read, we were learning about how Prakriti, nature, is determined by three qualities, three gunas: tamas, darkness; rajas, passion; and sattva, purity. And made up of 5 elements: akash, space; vayu, air; tejas, fire; apas, water; and prithvi, earth. Let us learn more about the basics so we can have a firm foundation for the nature of chakras. I'll just read the last paragraph that we left off on, as it's a wonderful paragraph. The cosmic forces are collected within the human body at certain central points, the chakras. These function like powerful power stations. They draw in cosmic energy, transform, store, and distribute it, and then radiate out into the cosmos again. The Tattvas, the elements that combine to form the body as a dwelling for the soul, again detach from one another at death and return to the cosmos. The soul then continues to wander, waiting to produce a new form again under suitable conditions. This cycle is known as Chaurasi-ka Chakra. Chaurasi-ka Chakra, the wheel of rebirth and death. Chakra literally means wheel, and it's ultimately where we get the Greek word chiklos, which became the English word for cycle, also known as the cycle of births and deaths. According to Indian philosophy, there are 8.4 million types of living beings that are divided into 3 categories: Nabhachara, Thalachara, and Jalachara. Living beings that exist in the air, those that live on or under the earth, and those that live in the water. 3 important elements, aren't they? The element of air, Vayu, the element of earth, Prithvi, and the element of water, Apas. And it's all fueled by the element of Tejas, fire in the sun. All contained in Akash, the element of space. They are further divided into 4 different classifications according to their method of birth in these 3 earthly spheres. Jara Yuja, in the womb, which includes humans and mammals. Andaja, in an egg that is hatched, birds, reptiles, fish, etc. Svedaja, through division, which includes lower forms of life, bacteria, etc. And Udbhija, through seed, like vegetation. Each of these groups has a certain aptitude, an ability called kala in Sanskrit. Plants possess 1 kala, lower life forms 2, egg-laying animals 3, and mammals and humans 4. While plants and animals remain at the level of their genesis, Humans can develop up to 16 kala through exercises, concentration, and following the principles of yoga. They can acquire 12 supernatural powers in addition to their 4 natural aptitudes. Therefore, the attainment of a human birth is the greatest stroke of luck for the soul. To enable this, with God's grace, innumerable cosmic powers act in combination, and this joining is comparable to a great fire. Qualitatively, the souls of all beings are the same. They are differentiated only in the degree of their development. A small candle flame is a fire, but when several flames are combined to form a brighter light, a stronger power results. A human lives more intensively and more consciously than another animal, and is distinguished from all other life forms through the gift of intellect, the buddhi. Without faltering, the wheel of rebirth, keeps returning, and the soul wanders through the cycle of existence driven by God's plan and karmas, actions. There's a whole chapter on karma later. Human life offers the only possibility of ending this cycle. The cyclic laws of nature also bind humans, but with the help of the intellect, they are capable of exploring the world, themselves, and also the supernatural powers. Only humans are capable of understanding what is God. Only humans can realize God. That is why it is possible for them to emerge from the cycle of rebirth, and as a consequence, also help others to do so. The practice of yoga supports and accelerates the development of humans, as it imparts to them knowledge of the true dimension of earthly life, its purpose and potential. The evolution of consciousness attains fulfillment in the divine state of samadhi, where knower, knowledge, and the object of knowledge become one. Since the beginning of its existence, the individual self has sought to gain knowledge about the self. While in samadhi, the self recognizes that it and the one sought for are one and the same. Therefore also, the knower and the object of knowledge are the same. And so begins the blissful experience of unity, displacing the wrongly cherished illusion of duality. This supreme knowledge is transmitted to us through 2 spiritual tattvas, 2 elements called Anupada tattva and Adi tattva. Anupada tattva is the tattva of the Agya chakra, which is the 3rd eye chakra. And the Adi tattva is the tattva of the Sahasrara chakra. I forget which chakra that refers to. Maybe the crown chakra, I think. Maybe one of you knows your chakras. The Sanskrit name for chakra is better than I do. Let me just double check. I'm sure somewhere in this book there's a diagram of all the chakras. I think it's the crown chakra. Anyway, it is the crown. Thank you, Ushabai. Anupada tattva, also called the Guru tattva, the element of the spiritual master, is the universal divine principle that leads the creation from darkness into light, from unconscious existence to conscious existence. Adi tattva is the divine self, Atma. Therefore, it is also called the Atma tattva or the Atma jnana, self principle or self-knowledge. Self-realized yoga masters are known as Brahmanishta, Shrotriya. Shrotriya, wow, what a wonderful word. The knowers of Brahman, the ultimate reality, and Tattva-darshi, the knowers of the Tattvas. Their knowledge and experiences are unlimited. They transcend time, space, and intellect. One who possesses self-knowledge and knowledge of the Tattvas has acquired the highest knowledge realizable by a human. With this, one becomes the knower of God, a Brahmagyani, and the self. The self merges into the divine consciousness and becomes one with God. Sri Mahaprabhuji wrote in one bhajan, one devotional song, "Infinite is the experience of the Tattva-darshi Gurudev. The blessed ones who have recognized this cross the ocean of ignorance. I had searched everywhere, including heaven and hell, and in all three worlds I found no one comparable to the Sattaguru. The struggle of the yogi to become free of passion, anger, attachment, greed, and ego is more difficult than the battle waged on the battlefield." I don't know the melody of that song, so I just read it as if it were a poem. But let's pause our reading there for now. So, what did we learn from this section? We learned that humans, like all other animals, have power centers called chakras, and that humans are unique in that they are the only living being that's capable of developing new abilities beyond their natural inclinations, new kalas, as it's called. Humans are given an intellect, a buddhi, which is able to discern between reality and unreality and escape the cycle of births and deaths. And that we do so through the attainment of samadhi, where our consciousness merges with the divine and we recognize ourself, the knower, to be one with the knowledge, the knowing, and the object of knowledge itself. And this supreme knowledge is transmitted to us through two principles called the Anupada Tattva and the Adi Tattva, also known as the Guru Tattva and the Atma Tattva. And Guru literally means the dissolver of darkness, that which brings you from darkness into light. All right. Thank you for listening. That was a wonderful section. Thank you again, dear Usha Bai, for sending this wonderful book for us to read together. It's full of such supreme knowledge from your Gurudev, Vishwar Guruji, Paramahant Swami Maheshwarananda. Such a lovely being. I feel like I know him already. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Eva Bell, for your heart me you sent a moment ago. And thank you, John F., for your friendship necklace and tiny. Yippee! And Anna Lee, thank you for your trio of roses. And thank you, Violet Light, for your heart me. Jacqueline, for your rosa. Thank you, Usha, for your rose. And Anazek, thank you for your rose too. Renvox, you ask, why do gurus have such long names? They are titles given to them by their own devotees. You know, their devotee just doesn't feel comfortable calling them something like Greg. You know, a devotee cultivates a kind of love for their teacher and they venerate them with such long names. It's beautiful. It's different from, let's say, many spiritual traditions in the West where we get titles given by an authority above them. It actually comes from people below them. It's from the common folk. We look up to them with such reverence that we give them these names. Or they just like giving people tongue twisters. that too. Now, if my eyesight was correct, Orla, you have a lot to say about about the concept of how plants fall into this evolution. You share that, wow, I keep scrolling up. You share that, wait, but aren't plants kind of like in nirvana already or whatever? As plants play and make decisions, they're sentient. There's this one species of bat that has complex language and names, and they mostly argue over space. Orla, you share that cows are worshipped in India, so animals must be divine. And many other animals also use names for one another. Bears use sir and admire gorgeous natural views. Plants play and make decisions, they're sentient. I love all that you have to share on this matter. That's beautiful. You are all right, and I mean that you are correct in your own regard, absolutely. And I love how much love you have for other kingdoms of life and the ones that we're a part of. It's true. There is a divinity and an intelligence in all of these forms too. When we talk about different forms of life, it's not to say that we're better than the rest. It's just to say that the spiritual potential in a human is different. It has a possibility that other life forms do not. That's not to say that they're lesser than us or that we're the best. But there's something very unique about humans. Very unique indeed. And human birth is the rarest of all births. So we should take it with a kind of preciousness and not let it go to waste. But we absolutely should have love and respect for all other life forms. I'm going to end the live soon, but there are some wonderful questions. Gregarji, you ask, what does the Maheshwara part stand for? Maha means great. Ishvara means Lord or God. So in Sanskrit, whenever you have an A next to an E sound, through a joining process called sandhi, they become an A sound, which actually is just a sped up transition between A and E. If you listen closely, it starts with an A and ends in an E. You'll notice this if you continue the A sound, you're actually ending with an E sound. So Maheshwara means Maha Ishvara, which means great Lord. So Maheshwarananda means the bliss of the great Lord, or the great bliss of the Lord, depending on if the Maha was added before the Ananda. Who knows? Could be either. An insane drummer, you ask, what do I think about all the things that Jesus said? I believe that they're something that we should deeply think about ourselves. Should meditate on them. Or it could be the great Lord of bliss. That's true, Gregarji. But usually when we have a Swami, because the word that comes before Maheshwarananda, a Swami name is the bliss of something. Like Vivekananda means the bliss of discrimination, and not discriminating between people, but between what is real and what is unreal. Or the bliss of existence and consciousness, Satchitananda. Or Yogananda, the bliss of yoga, of divine union. And hello, dear Bella, dear brave Bella. And good night, dear Sue. And Lord, you're wondering what my thoughts are regarding plants advancing in dimensional vibrations. We talked about this earlier in the live, near the beginning, I think, that plants can help us progress on the spiritual path, but they engage with all of the synapses and receptors in our system, so they're really unlocking something within us rather than giving us anything that we don't already have access to within. And thank you, Andy, for your trio of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Renvox, thank you for your ginger man. Radhe Radhe. And thank you, Gulai, for another rose. And Dregos, thank you for your rose. Renvox, you ask, is a Swami a guru? They can be, but a guru is something personal. Like my mother is a mother, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's your mother. A Swami can be a guru, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're your guru. A guru implies a relationship to you personally. There are many people who are gurus to other people, but we might find a guru somewhere else. Your guru may be a Swami, it may be a Swamini, or it may be someone by a different title. Am I going to the beach to cool off? Asked you to infinity. Actually, it's cool enough today that I don't need to. It's nice and cool in the shade now. Now with that, I will be wrapping things up for tonight. So I'm very grateful for this time we got to take together. I will end with a short meditation, because why not? We can do a guided meditation, just a short one to check in with ourselves. So I ask of you all to engage in conscious breathing and get into a position that's comfortable for you. Acknowledge how this body is feeling. From the top of your head, all the way down to the tips of your toes, down your arms and your fingertips too. Just feel that inner spaciousness that is present within all of the cells of your body. Notice how there are some sensations more concentrated in one place than another. Like you might have a really good sense of feeling in your tummy. Maybe there are some emotions associated there. And maybe there's not as many sensations in other places like your elbow. Or the back of your head. So acknowledge where there's a concentration of sensation and a relative absence of sensation, and try to equalize it. Imagine filling that bodily space with a homogeneous, uniform field of awareness that does not discriminate between one body part or another. Bring your awareness fully, wholly, everywhere. Make it all feel like it's vibrating at the same rhythm, as if your whole body was becoming one frequency. And imagine that energy expanding beyond your skin. Let it permeate our hair, our clothes, our teeth, our eyelashes. Let it contain the seat or bed or floor that you're on. Imagine you are a source of vibration which starts to get everything around you vibrating with you. As if your whole room becomes the speaker of your soul, vibrating according to the music of the essence of your very being. And imagine that vibration carrying across to everyone around you. And then send it off to reverberate around the whole world. Imagine a sphere of influence rippling across your neighborhood, your town, your city, your state or province or territory, your country, your continent, your hemisphere. And as it goes around to the other side of the world, concentrates to make an impact there and starts reverberating all the way back around to your hemisphere, back to your country, territory, city, town, community, household, and right back to you. And you feel that your love has gone around the whole world, right back to you. And with that, you can open your eyes or stretch or wiggle your hands and blink. A short and sweet one today. Thank you. That was a nice 5-minute meditation. Thank you for participating. Thank you, Gule, for another pair of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And with that, we will be bringing our live stream to a close. I will be uploading this to my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel, as well as alternatives, and they're all in the link tree in my bio. Thank you, John Simon, for your heart me. Hare Krishna. And Anazak, thank you for another rose. Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tat Savituhur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Prachodayat. Evable, thank you for your quartet of tiny Dionies. I don't know what that was. And Gule, thank you for another rose. Giovanna, you ask, will there ever be funny mathematics videos ever again? You love it. Perhaps one day. Perhaps one day. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for sharing your love. Suz Namaste. Thank you for your rose. May this live stream be an offering to the divine that I see within you. Shri Radha Krishna. Radhe Krishna. Radhe Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Radhe Radhe. Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Gule. And Bella, brave Bella, thank you for another rose. Namaste. May you all have a wonderful rest of your present moment. Chip chip cheerio.